Welcome to AGR Book Talk. I'm Dr. Felicia J. Lindsay, your host, fellow book lover and passionate advocate for storytelling in all its forms. Whether you're a reader, a writer, a book influencer, a podcaster, a bookstore owner, or someone who simply loves the magic of great stories, we're so glad you're here. Subscribe, follow, and join us on this journey. Engage with us on social media, share your favorite reads, and let's build a community that celebrates books in the most unique and exciting ways. New episodes drop regularly, so don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, follow us on your favorite platform, and let's turn every page into an adventure together. Thanks for tuning in. Now, let's talk books. Hello, today we are with Rick Alcantara. I know I didn't say that name right. You have to pronounce it for our audience. Can you say it for me?
Rick Alcantara. It's very easy.
Oh, yes. Now, today we're talking with him. He is a book marketer. He's going to be able to tell you how to get into media with your book marketing, how to promote your book marketing. And basically, this is dedicated to authors to help you get out there and just put your book out there so we all can read it and be a part of your story. Rick, tell us more about your company.
Yeah, well, this version of my company is about 5 years old. I had a prior company that I ran for about 20 plus years called Tara Communications, right after my last name. And I kind of got into the book marketing almost by accident. I was approached by a financial planner who had written a book, heard that I did PR, contacted me, said, "Hey, I heard you do PR. Love to talk to you about marketing my book." And I said, "Hey, I'll be honest with you, man. I've never marketed a book in my life, you know." But he says, "I like what you're saying. I like your approach. Let's do it." Wound up working with him for about a year. I submitted him for awards. He won some national awards. We got him some media coverage, got him on podcasts. We did advertising, we did social media, we did all kinds of stuff, built out a website. So a lot of work. And, so now I'm working with about 8 different authors, and I do pretty much everything for them. And what I'd like to do is to start working with those authors months ahead of time before the book actually gets to publication. And the reason why we do that is for, several things. One, to kind of generate some sale publicity for the book, so generate interest in people even placing orders for the book ahead of time. The other good thing is we start getting those reviews. And some reviewers will only look at your book before it's been published. After it's been published, they don't. And I think a lot of it is they just want to be the first one to comment on it, But if you get reviews before the book goes to print, you can actually include some of the better reviews actually in the book itself. So there's an advantage. Also, kind of laying the groundwork requires several months to kind of get things in place. So if we need to build out a website, if we need to build out social media properties, if we're thinking about advertising or doing book fairs or submitting for awards or whatever we're doing, kind of start laying the groundwork ahead of time so that when the book goes to print, you've already got a following, you've already got people interested in buying, perhaps they've already placed orders for the book. And it does take a couple months. And then after the book is printed, then there's still some additional marketing that takes place. And if you're a self-published author, it all falls on your own shoulders. You got to pay for design, you got to pay for copy editing, you got to pay for marketing. And most self-published authors aren't doing any of those. And so I basically help them market their book and also promote them as kind of a thought leader related to their book. Now, almost everything I've done so far has been nonfiction. I have not done any fiction books. So I've worked with a financial planner. I've worked with the DEI trainers. I work with an auditor. Right now I'm working with a dentist who wrote a memoir about his life, and a career coach. So very different individuals, all with kind of different reasons for writing a book. But I have found that most people writing a book because they have a burning passion to say something, or they want to kind of use that book as a lead into their business. And they just realize, hey, I'm not going to be the New York Times bestseller list, but if I can get the people interested in the book, they might be interested in me. They might hire me to help them with their business, or they might, support my candidate, or whatever it is that author is interested in promoting.
So are you looking at basically to help give authors an idea? Do they need a 4-month lead time before having their book published? What would be the ideal time?
I think the ideal time is about 6 months when you're still kind of in that phase. You're still writing, and definitely by the time you get that kind of author proof, you definitely want to have somebody on board by that time, because at that point you're just kind of checking everything, making sure it's correct. Give you an example with one of my authors right now. He was working with a publisher, and they were not very responsive to his needs, and they didn't even have a phone number where you could call anybody. You had to send an email and wait for a response. And they sent the first brand of edit, first view of the book to us, and myself and the ghostwriter made some edits and sent it back to them. They made those changes, and then they sent it back for a second time. We found a couple more things, sent it back to them, and we thought they made the changes. They actually printed the book, distributed it to Amazon and other places, and then we found out they actually printed the first version of copy. So they actually put all the books back off the market, reprint the book, and send it back out. So, those are the kinds of things that can happen. And so I work with the authors to kind of make sure some of those things don't happen. Also, one of my authors right now, I'm working on with him. We started out with a print book, then we moved to ebook, and now we're working with some translators to translate the book into Spanish and then market that book as well.
Now, what are some of the things that are required to help the author be able to apply for an award or to submit their book for an award? What do the authors need to start putting together if they want to work with you so that they can have all that information ready?
Well, for awards, the number one thing is good content. It's got to be something that somebody's going to want to read. Probably the second thing is a good cover design. So I wouldn't skimp on cover design, because that is one of the things that the first thing that people are going to look at. It's just like you go to the supermarket, you're looking at things on the shelf. If it catches your eye, you're probably going to pick that up and at least look at it, consider it, maybe buy it. If the book looks boring to begin with, just from the cover, they may not even look at it, read the back of it, see what it's about or anything. So those two things are critical. If you have those things in place, you can start moving on from there. Then if they have like a mailing list, kind of start seeding the mailing list. Hey, I'm writing my book. It's going to be coming out in April or something. If they have a good following on social media, they can start planting seeds that the book is in development. When I start working with them, we start actually creating a campaign behind it. We can actually create images and content to kind of drive that message and get people interested in their books before it even goes to print. And so then when I start working with them, what I need is a proof version. It still doesn't have to be the final thing, but at least got to know what the book's about, because I'm going to read it cover to cover. I want to know what I'm marketing.
I love that.
Yeah, and then I need their photo, I need their bio, I need the information from the printer. So when we kind of build out that social media and that website, I need to know, like, how many pages is it going to be? What format is it going to be? What's the ISBN number? I need a picture, version of the cover, so I can actually put that in the marketing materials. And then as we start going from there, I start asking them questions, and if we build out a website, I might put a Q&A on there, so that if a media source or a journalist or a book reviewer is interested in knowing more about that author, why did you write the book? Who is the book for? What motivated you to write that book? All of those kinds of things. And then a sample chapter is helpful, because people can actually kind of read it. Maybe an excerpt that we can use in our publicity as well. And I put all those on the author website. So it's self-contained. And anything.
Wait a minute, Greg. Are you saying that you also build or that you work on websites?
Yes, I've actually built them from scratch. Actually, first one I ever built, you'll love this, was way back in the 1800s when the internet really started bubbling up. I was working at a bank, and myself and a graphic designer built it by hand in Notepad. So that's the first website I ever did. So I can actually read code, but I use off-the-shelf software now, or I actually bring in a developer to help do it. But yes, build out the website, and then everything that we do drives traffic back to that website. So any social media, any media outreach, anything is going to drive traffic to that website, where they can get more details about the author. And if the author is looking for something beyond just book sales, like for example, they want speaking engagements, then I will build out a speaker kit and actually house that on the website as well. So we're trying to think, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of time. Again, all before the book goes to print.
Well, I love that, especially that you have all those different facets, because it's very important if you want to be a speaker for the information to be on the website. People can download it, they can book you, they can start already putting your pictures on information. So that is a huge advantage for authors.
Oh yeah,
Now,
yeah.
another thing is, I know when we were talking prior, you said you helped some get into like the news outlet to be able to talk about their subject matter.
Yeah, yeah. So it could be about the book, or it could even be about their profession. So, for example, I mentioned about the dentist who wrote a book. Has the book has nothing to do with dentistry, but I've actually promoted both him as a doctor as well as him as an author as two separate, totally different things. And
Okay.
we've actually got some media coverage for him as a doctor, and got him quoted in online magazines. And with the authors, if we've got some really substantial, content, and there's something that people might be interested in, I look for media opportunities for them. And by media, I mean like online, newspapers, magazines, things like that.
Mhm.
There also may
Mhm.
be opportunities to get them on a podcast. So,
Mhm.
if they feel comfortable getting in front of the camera and talking like we're doing right now, they would do that as well, because that opens up, opportunities for other people who they may not otherwise have reached to learn about the
Mhm.
book and then check it out. And then the other thing also is to create these online author profiles. So,
Yes.
sites like Goodread and Book Life and places like that, because you've got hundreds of thousands of people who are members of those sites, and they go there to find out about new books. So
Mhm.
creating the personal profile, creating the author profile is essential. With Goodreads, you can actually even tag videos that your author appears in. So we've done that as well. So post the videos to
Oh.
YouTube and then link to the videos. We
Mhm.
got videos on their websites. So there's a lot of things you can do. But with the book profiles, you can actually do advertising on those platforms. They have, like, Publishers Weekly has a magazine. If you're an indie, you can actually have your book featured right on the front cover of Publishers Weekly, and it's featured with a bunch of other books that are indies, and it just kind of rotates, and you are seen maybe a dozen times every day, which is nice. And then, from there, the next step might be those book fairs and advertising. A lot of it depends on budget.
Now, do you do a lot of virtual book fairs? You know how they'll have several authors on. Do you get your authors and have them in a collection and do that?
Yes, yeah, and it depends on the book fair. So, for example, if you're trying to, like, one of my authors was interested in presenting the book as a textbook. So, for librarians, that would be perfect. So there are book
Mhm.
fairs targeting the librarians. If you're just trying to get to, say, book buyers, that's another audience. And then if you're just trying to get to book readers, that's a whole third group. So it all
That's
depends on
true.
what that author is trying to do. It'll depend on, do we even want to be in a book fair, and if so, which ones? And is it just going to be US based, or do you want to be in Frankfurt and do a book fair there?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Now, I do have one question.
sure.
What are some of the major mistakes that you see that some authors do when they're trying to get their book out there?
Well, if they're not available and I can't reach them, that's a big problem. If they're not putting, enough resources behind it, because it does take some money. I mean, you're going to market it.
Yes,
The worst thing you can do is write the book. You spend all that money to get it printed, and then it just sits on your bookcase and nobody ever knows about it. So
mhm,
you've got to
that's
put some
true.
money in there. And some of the things you can do cost really almost next to nothing. Some might be a couple $100. You could do advertising for a couple $100. You can do a book giveaway for about $100.
Mhm,
You can do
mhm.
media outreach would be basically my time, and they're just saying to the author, okay, here's an opportunity. Are you interested in doing it? And if so, I just need you to write a couple paragraphs or a couple sentences. Tell me your position on this thing, and we'll pitch it out to the author. And just realizing that, maybe not everything is going to generate, thousands of responses, but, you're trying to use numerous avenues to get that book out there and get it seen and get yourself seen. And then just, again, identifying the main thing is having an objective. What is the goal behind, my doing this book and doing the marketing? Is it book sales? Is it getting speaking opportunities? Is it going
Mhm.
to be as a thought leader? What do they want? And so once that's clear, then we can move forward. Also, in getting the right publisher. That is probably one of the things that I've seen, and I've worked with numerous, self-published authors. I've talked to a lot of others as well,
Mm-hmm.
and heard horror stories, as I've told you one of them
I've
already,
seen lots of.
um, where one of my authors, they paid all this money to the publisher, and then they went up doing most of the work themselves. And
Oh,
that
that's
shouldn't. Yeah. So I actually work with a publisher in Canada, and he does phenomenal work. He actually turned an ebook around for us in about 48 hours.
now that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what is the name of that company?
So that is Northern Forest. They're a great company. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how can they reach you? How can the authors and everybody in the audience reach you and get more information?
Yeah, well, the best way to reach me is through LinkedIn. I'm on there, and I'm on LinkedIn all the time. So if you connect with me or drop me a message, I'll get back to you very quickly. I'm posting there all the time, not just for myself, but for my clients. I'm also president of a trade association, and I'm posting on their behalf all the time as well. So I'm pretty versed on LinkedIn, and I also use LinkedIn for my clients as well. So that's one thing as well. You're asked about like mistakes. If they don't have a social media presence, they're almost invisible. So
Yeah.
I build those profiles for them and manage them for them. And, and then the other thing is we're kind of connecting all of these things together so we can actually drive traffic from one platform to another, drive traffic from a platform to their website, and if they've got a, like say, for example, speaker reel or something, we can drive traffic directly to that, if they want to be seen as a speaker. If they write a lot of articles, drive traffic directly to their blog. So the thing here is just keep the momentum going. And again, it takes months to build it, and you just keep going. And usually about a year after the book's published is when you start seeing the drop off. Ideally, if I were in the ideal world, I'd say I'd love to work with them for about 18 months. And it depends on, again, their budget and their goals.
And then the thing about it is, once they have the media presence and they are marketing, you can repurpose. You can repurpose some of the material, and you can make new material. So you can just keep using it because there's always someone new on the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've got great quotes in your book, that your book is quotable, let's put it that way, we can constantly keep using those for social media posts. If they haven't done so, I would recommend that they get at least a really good photographer or somebody who can take really good pictures of themselves and get multiple versions of that so we can use those in the marketing so it's not always the same image. I like to work with 6 or 7 different images or more, so we can use them. Each platform has different requirements. So you may have to use a vertical image or you may have to use a horizontal image. So.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to tell our audience that we need to know? I know it's so many things that you do. I know you do a podcast also.
Yeah, I host a podcast every month for my trade association. So I talk with other communications professionals, and the programs are designed to provide professional development to folks who are in the communications business, whether they're in PR or marketing or internal communications. And like I said, we use social media to leverage them. We actually use this platform, StreamYard, to actually do our podcasts, and it post the library of all the videos. We've got about 40 videos up on our website for iabcphiladelphia.org. I'll give a little plug. And that's where I spend a lot of my other time. When I have any free time, it goes there, with the trade association. But yeah, with the authors, it's just, set realistic expectations. Just realize that, as a self-published author, you're probably not going to make the New York Times bestseller list, but realizing that, if you can generate some sales, fantastic. If it can help you promote your business, even better. Those are, I think, probably the most important things.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on today and telling everybody about everything that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been great. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on AGR Book Talk, where every story is an experience waiting to be shared. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. Stay connected with us on social media and let us know what books and experiences are inspiring you. Until next time, keep reading, keep exploring, and keep the conversation going. See you in the next chapter.